that's his preferred way. He's had success with doing it through there. I treat a lot of patients with neck sensitivity, so I tend not to do that. I use this technique more, right? But you can use the head for the upper segments. Okay? Now, cross your arms. What we did with the ring thing when we were doing our assessment, we came in. Okay, you can hug, snuggle up. Okay, you can grab the shoulder. You can come in here. You can grab an arm, depending on the size of the person. You can snake in. Hold your arms out, and you can snake in, and you can hold the person here. All right. If you have a female patient, you may not be able to do that. You don't want to make her feel uncomfortable when you come down. Okay. So they're crossed here, and I hug this way. I say, okay, I'm just going to snuggle up and give you a little hug here so I can get to your back. And then this feels pretty comfortable. All right. I'm stabilizing her against me. I have against my pec. I'm pushing here. Women can do this as well. You just stabilize in the upper pec. If you're feeling uncomfortable, then you can put a pillow that creates a barrier. Okay? Because then, like for me, I can actually start to get in here and I can stabilize more of this. So if you need to do that, just throw a pillow in there and then you can make the person feel more comfortable. Okay? I have her here. I'm going to do a bit of a side bending like what we did with the assessment. With the ring, we hugged the rib and then we were doing kind of a lift this way. We were helping the ring translate. Right? When you side bend, and you should start to translate this way, so we were doing it with the whole functional unit, and this is how I can start to localize her side bending. Okay? The technique here is more joint specific. Okay? So he's thinking more about what's happening, right, and this is the more common way to do it, is you're coming right to the side of the spinous process. As I come in here and I say, okay, where do I want to work? I'll pick a good segment. This seems like a pretty good one. I'm going to hug in here. Let's say I just perch on the rib, but I'm not thinking ring. I'm just thinking if the spinous process, you're going your thumb right at the base of the spinous process. When we side bend this way, all right, and I'm focusing on this right facet, what do I want this right facet to do? Downslide or close. Good. Now, I could do an actual downslide move, right? But what the common way to do it is you enhance the translation like this. And when you enhance the translation at that segment, essentially, you're inducing that downslide. Does that make sense? When they side bend, there should be a translation this way. That creates a downslide. If I come in here and I perch on about where the facet is or on the base of the spinous process and I do this, I'm adding more pressure, mainly on that segment. Okay? Now, if I think functional unit, right, when I do that translation, I can just pull from the whole rib. And what it does is just gives me a longer lever arm to get that technique. So feel the difference of this. You feel the pressure there, right? But now if I hug the rib, and now I'm kind of translating the whole rib along, feel the pressure? A little bit? Which one feels like more pressure? Here? This feels like more pressure? First, which one feels like more pressure? Technique A, technique B. Second one feels like more pressure. Okay? So I'm able to get more of a move out of her by using a longer technique. This is still very effective. People will use pisiform too. You can hug in here. I snuggle up the pisiform. See how I took up some skin slack? Right? And I come in here. And now I'm still kind of doing that translation, but I'm also enhancing a downslide by pushing on the pisiform on where the facet would be, particular pillar or transverse process, or base of the spine of the scapula. Right? You find your perch where you can get in there. If I go on here, you don't like that, right? This is a little bit of tone of her rectus spinae. If I start pushing, if I try and do a mauve and push there, how's that feel? Not good, right? So once I push on this trigger point and I try and do the mauve, she's going to guard. So you want to get around the muscle, around the skin, take up the slack, and now you can do the mauve. Then it won't be as sensitive. Okay? Now you're seeing here, he also does side bending towards, so you can do the translation away. Okay, so I'm pushing that way, trying to help that move. Same idea, still enhancing the downslide. But there's also, if I'm enhancing the downslide on the left now, what am I all doing to the right as well? Upslide. Okay? Now the way you can bias it, and that's what we'll do when we start doing more of the rotation mode, is you can actually start to flex. What happens if I start to flex her? It opens which facet if I just flex her? Both. Now if I flex her and I side bend her a little bit, and then I translate which facet am I opening?
Right.
Right. Which facet am I closing?
Left.
Yeah, kind of, but I flexed, right? So it's not optimal. This is optimal for upsliding the right. So what do I want to do if I want to optimally downslide the left?
Extend.
Extend. So I could extend the functional unit and sideband. Now what am I doing?
Down sliding left.
Downsliding left. Okay, so you can fine tune the technique by doing that. Okay?